to invite Anas Zubedy to make his presentation. Over to you, Anas.
Thanks, Dr. Anin. Salam sejahtera to everyone. As you have heard, Dr. Bala spoke about the environment and economics, followed by Khairul spoke about innovation economics, and Jason has shown very clearly how it is happening for one particular profession. My chat with you will focus on you and I, the micro, the individuals. How do we deal with this human spirit that we're going through? For example, just now Jason spoke about mental health, things like this, and how do we rise above the what you call the challenges. Let me share. Now, the title of my chat is Making a Difference and How to Make the Best of the MCO, or now the CMCO, or the entire experience being in the COVID-19. While we are, this the topic, the idea or the sharing that I'm giving today has a universal application, although you'll notice that I will focus a little bit more on the COVID-19. What I'm going to try to promote or sell you the idea that for us to take charge and to make a difference during this time, we need to choose what to pay attention to. We need to really be conscious of what we do and what we pay attention to. Let me explain. Have you in the past, for example, when your friend or your cousin or someone you know bought a new car, let's say a Proton Iris or a Proton Iris or a Proton Alza, do you realize that the very next day, you tend to see these models on the road? Prior to it, we are blind to it. Suddenly you realize, oh, there are so many irises around the road. And if let's say you are thinking of changing your car to, let's say, a red colored car, you want to change the color to red, you suddenly will realize there are many red cars on the road. Now, you will find this pattern seems to happen. And if ladies, when you are pregnant, you somehow realize, ooh, there are so many pregnant ladies around my neighborhood. And this is something you and I must stop and wonder and be aware. Now, we must understand that until we are conscious of something, we are not mindful of it. So in other words, the moment we are conscious of the color red, and then we start seeing the color red. But once we start to pay attention to it, and it becomes more and more prominent and more relevant to our lives. Now, thus a small matter can become big, and a big issue can become small based on what we choose to pay attention to. And this is really important for us to consider. A small matter can become big, and a big issue may become small based on what we choose to pay attention to. Let me give some examples. Now, a staff who chooses to pay attention to a small cut on his finger will not be able to perform the whole day through. They say, boss, tangan sakit lah, tangan sakit lah, tangan sakit lah. And that staff may not be productive for the whole day. On the other hand, Azizul Hasni Awang, our cyclist, had a splinter going through his legs. And yet he could finish the race because he was paying attention to and focusing on winning. So the former becomes a lousy employee, but Azizul went to become the world champion. And this is why you and I need to really be careful on what we are paying attention to. Now, in short, our reality and experiences in life are governed by this patterning system. Yeah. When we choose, we pay attention, and it becomes our reality. And this is big, yeah? But this is very crucial because as we choose, we will act. Just like the worker just now, you choose to pay attention to a small cut in the hand, and what happened is the whole day they become unproductive. Because as we choose, we act. And this is really crucial if we want to make a difference and take charge. By our choices, we behave positively or negatively. Now, this makes what and how we choose to pay attention to central in making our life full of happiness and laughter, or otherwise sorrows and misery. It all depends on what we choose to pay attention to. Similarly, whether our COVID-19 MCO experience a blessing or a curse. Yeah. So it is obvious that if we do not spend time and be aware of this simple patterning system in us humans, we may fall into sorrows and misery. But if we learn to do it the other way around, we'll be happier and full of laughter. Now, I would like to share two main points. There are many to share, but we have only about 8 to 9 minutes. Maybe you can ask questions later. Two worldviews or beliefs that you can choose to pay attention to that may help you take charge and mitigate the challenges we are facing and make a difference. Now, the first is called the concept of neutrality. The second is the 3 P's of choices. Let me explain. The concept of neutrality suggests that the entire universe was created neutral. In other words, God created a neutral universe. So we must be aware that our life experiences are all neutral until we choose. So a hot sunny day is actually neutral. Now, the Matsalis or Caucasians, when it's hot out there, they will go for a jog. And we Asians will go hiding. Now, I live in a condo. At about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, it's so hot. And I have Caucasian neighbors swimming at the pool. And my neighbor, a Chinese man, he will say in Hokkien, "Xiao Ang Mo," crazy Chinese fellas. Because we do not see that actually the hot sun is actually neutral. To the Caucasians, it's time to go out and party. To us Malaysians, let's go and hide. Now, let me give another example. During my time working for a multinational, back in the 90s, that's a long time ago, when there was a power cut, I noticed there are 3 types of behaviors among my workmates. The first one, they say, will blame LLN. That's during the time of Lembaga Letik Negara, or now called TNB. One will blame LLN for work not done. The second one will complain that they cannot finish their work because there was no electricity. And there's a third group who will simply go find a brighter place by the window and continue to work. In fact, one of my workmates will even take his work out to the car park and just do it. So in other words, the power cut was actually neutral. So just like the MCO, it's how we choose to react to it makes it what it is. And the earlier we recognize this, the better it is for us. Now, once we accept the concept of neutrality, we have a safety mechanism. A system that helps us suspend judgment for a while so that we can make better choices. Wait a minute, this is neutral. We may say, wait a minute, the MCO is neutral, what choices can I make? And this takes us to the point number 2. The 3 P's of choices. Now, the 3 P's basically will explain to us why we do what we do or why we behave the way we behave. So it's the 3 ways we justify ourselves. We justify our life. What are the 3 P's? Now, let's go back to the example I had, the LLN example just now. Now, the first P is called push, where you blame others. Family, boss, friends, politicians. When you blame LLN or workers at LLN, or right now, of course, everyone will choose the politician that they don't like and they blame that politician. That's called the first push, or the first P, sorry, push. And the second one, when you say there's no electricity, so I cannot work, is when you start blaming the situation. In the MCO situation, of course, we blame the MCO. We say the gym is closed, that's why I can't exercise. It's been daily raining now, And we use a situation to justify our behavior. The third one, the group of people that continue working even though there's no electricity, they take charge from within. We call it the third P, or personal. Yeah. Now the 3 P's is push, pull, and personal. In other words, these are the 3 ways we can react, yeah, to the neutral situation that we have to go through on a daily basis, just like the MCO. Now, we have to be very careful here because we not just justify our past using these 3 P's, we also justify our future. Let's take a work example. Let's say we ask someone, you ask a fellow colleague and say, hey, what will make you work harder? Yeah? Maybe, what will make you work harder? There's this group of people will say, you change my boss lah. Yeah, so these people blame others. If you change my boss, and then I will be able to work harder. There's another group of people, we call it the P2 group. They will say, if you pay me more, you give me more bonus, then I will work harder. So these people have chosen to blame the situation. Now, both groups of people who use P1 and P2, blame others and blame situation, has no control of their life. They cannot take charge of their life because until something external change, they are stuck where they are. And this is really sad for the human spirit. Of course, there's a third person who takes charge from within. He say, okay, let me see how I can push myself. Maybe I can motivate myself, inspire myself by reading a book or something. So in other words, these 3 P's is how we decide to react to the neutral situation created by the universe. Now, to take charge, to make a difference to choosing, we need to choose the third P. We have to try to make a difference to P3. Now, is this idea of taking charge from within new knowledge? Is it a new idea? No, not at all. Yeah. Now, if you look at our traditions, yeah, I will quote 5 traditions here. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, it says that to change your future using your own will. If you look at Tao Te Ching, Lao Tse, from chapter 33, Lao Tse says to conquer others needs strength, to conquer oneself is harder. If you look at the Buddha says, though one should conquer 1,000,000 men in the battlefield, yet he in this noblest victory has conquered himself. If you look at the Bible, Matthew 7:5 says, hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove speck in your brother's eye. And the Quran says, verily, never will God change the fate condition of a people until they change what's in themselves. So it seems to be this formula of being that person who takes charge from within is highly recommended. It's a life skill that our own tradition and religion has told us to be mindful of. Now, obviously, this wisdom of thousands of years, of billions of people, should be considered. So let's do a review now. Now, to make a difference and take charge of our life, we need to choose what to pay attention to. A small matter can become big, and a big issue may become small, based on what we choose to pay attention to. So in other words, yes, we may earn less, during, right, maybe after the COVID-19 or during the COVID-19 crisis. Now, you can make that bigger problem, or you can actually look at the issue and make it smaller. It's all based on what we choose to pay attention to. How we choose to pay attention to, central in making our life, whether it's happiness and laughter, or otherwise sorrows and misery, our COVID-19 MCO experience a blessing or a curse. Now, our life experiences are neutral until we choose. And best if you choose P3, take charge from within. Now, please do give taking charge from within P3 a try. If you do try the next 1 week or 1 month, please share your successes in my FB. You can tag in your FB and tag me. I would like to hear from you. Allow me to conclude. This is a fasting month. Let me conclude by using the Quran, quoting the Quran. The Quran, chapter 39, verse 18 says, those who listen to the word and follow the best meaning in it, choose the best meaning in it, those are the ones whom Allah has guided, and those are the ones endued with understanding. Thank you very much. You are what you pay attention to.
Thank you so much, Anas. That was really, really interesting, very insightful, and I definitely choose, and I'm sure I speak for many when I said we pick the third P. Uh, definitely. A question for you, Anas, is that the Tan Yen Hui is asking, what is the alternative way to counter the changes for social interaction? There are no more group celebrations, weddings, face-to-face gatherings, going to movies, going to temples, churches, mosques, etc. So I think the question is, how do we, what's sort of the alternative way of perhaps retaining the social togetherness and still remaining together as a community or as a family in spite of this social distancing? Anas?
Thank you. It's a good question. Well, okay, I think we need to first and foremost put some perspective here. These social distancing is not something that's going to last forever and ever. That's the first thing we have to know. Let's say in maybe 18 months or 2 years' time, we have vaccines. Remember, we in history, humans have gone through many more challenges like this, from plagues to difficult times like even during war and all that. So this is actually a very, I would say, just a short moment of our history. And the beauty is we can actually find other ways to connect. And for example, my siblings and I, we are now spending more time talking through the WhatsApp. Yeah, and Dr. Bala and a few friends, we meet every now and then on Saturday to have our supposedly teh tarik, but now it's fasting month. Maybe we should do supper, Dr. Bala. So we create, our own so-called, communities, and I think there are so many new opportunities. If you don't go, for example, among the Muslims. It used to be the head of the family, the father, will go and pray during Sembahyang Taraweh, the Taraweh prayer during the fasting month. But as a makmum, as a follower, that means there is an imam in front and he is just a follower. But today, many Muslim men, they become the imam in the house and their family become makmum. And that is actually a positive move. So there are so many opportunities if we just choose to look at those opportunities. And remember that, yes, I think Dr. Jason mentioned something very true. We are social creatures, but the platform to be social can change. Yeah, and we used to complain about our teenagers who are always, facing the phone or facing the camera on the what you call the computer, and now we are doing that. So maybe it's time we learn from the young people. Maybe they are ahead of us for things like this. I find that this concept of neutrality, there is a Malay word called hikmah. Yeah, where there is something special. We call it there's a silver lining, and it is for us to look for it. I'm a very positive person, and I feel that there is a Quranic verse that is one of my favorite, chapter 2, 286. It says, God will never test you more than you can handle. God will never test you more than you can handle. So in other words, whenever we go through a test, we have been chosen because we can pass the test. It's whether we pass with flying colors or we just pass just like that. And I think we should try to pass with flying colors. Yen Hui, Yen Hui, remember, you are not alone. You are not alone in, being alone in your room or your house. Yeah, the community, the entire world is like that. So reach out to your friends. Yeah, organize gatherings via Zoom or via Google Team or whatever. Yeah, let's take action. First, neutralize it. Neutralize the idea that we cannot do anything. It's not true. As Dr. Jason has shown just now, probably now he's getting a bigger audience than before. Now he can get 5,000 audience at one go. Normally, probably you have like a few hundreds. Yeah. So let's find ways to win these challenges.
Thank you, Anas. There's another very interesting question that I find here, and I think the audience will be really benefited if I throw it out to each speaker for their views. So the question is from Mr. Daniel Lim. He's asking, what will be your advice on potential actions to take on in leading team members positively? Appreciate a few quick solutions. So if I were to ask each speaker, maybe just your top suggestion for positively leading team members, I'll ask Anas a tough question.
Can I do that because I've written down a few answers.
Yes, please. Yes.
I think the first thing we need to do is to be clear with goals. Set clear goals. One of the first things we did at my company, the moment we are going to go into MCO, is to set goals 2 weeks. I think that's very clear. Without goals, our brain will go everywhere else. Yeah? And the goals are not only in terms of 2 weeks or 1 month, or also on a daily basis, what we're supposed to do. We practice daily things to do list religiously. Yeah? Number 2, as a leader, we must remove uncertainties. We must really ask and see what are they uncertain about. As best as possible, we have to remove uncertainties. Yeah? It is very important for us to explain things. Okay, what we're going to do next 1 week, what we're going to do the next 1 month, what will happen after September? A lot of questions. What will happen after September? One of the biggest question you hear from your subordinates, the people that work for you, because of the moratorium. Yeah. And the next one, which is very, very important for us to deal with, is to manage expectations. Yeah, not just in the office, but also at home. Let me explain. I think Bala explained it just now, and it was mentioned a little bit by Cairo. We all will earn less. Yeah, more likely than not, the majority of us will earn less. We need to come up with this new idea. It is okay. It is okay to earn less. And this is really a big challenge among the millennials, because among the team, it is the younger people will ask things like, in 6 months' time, will I get back my salary? Because now we have what you call 50% off and all those things. But the answer we gave is, I'm very sorry, even WHO and the United Nations don't know what's going to happen in 3 months' time. Yeah, so how am I going to explain you in 6 months? But what I can tell you is this is what we're going to try to do. We have to manage expectations, both at home and at work. Now, if you're at home, if you expect your husband to help you in the kitchen all the time, you're going to be in trouble. Yeah, you have to manage the expectation. And husbands, if you expect your wife, Cairo is smiling, if you expect your wife to cook for you every hour, you're in trouble. We have to recalibrate and fine-tune our expectation. The next one is, it's very important for us to create new routines. Yeah, we need to create new routines, both at work and also how we run our business. As just now, I think Jason said correctly. For example, we set a rule, for example, on May 1st, please no business, everybody take a rest. On the 7th, Vesak Day, everybody take a rest. Because if not, we're gonna, everybody will go on a burnout. And what is the important thing we have to do during this time where we have to deal with not face-to-face is to over-communicate. Yeah, it's okay to over-communicate and announce to your people, sorry, I have to over-communicate just in case. Yeah, we are worried that certain directives, certain ideas, certain things we have to do will be lost in the through online. So we need to over-communicate. Now, to summarize, you to ask about leadership. Now, at this point of our life is when we really, really need to lead with our heart. We need to really lead with our heart. But we must solve problems with our head. Yeah, we have to remember this. This is when we have to be, very factual in solving problems. Yeah, we have to be scientific. Yeah, we need to follow, the Chancellor of Germany, Merkel. She look at it scientifically, look at facts, but with a gentle heart, because everybody is in pain. Yeah, mothers couldn't meet their children, children cannot see their family. So we need to understand that we are all, many of us are in pain. Yeah? So we need to lead with the heart, but please make decisions with facts. That's the worry that we have, is if leaders make decisions based on politics, based on feelings, and not based on facts. Sorry, it will take a long time. Pass back to you.
No, thank you, Anas. Thank you. Very thought-provoking. And since we have just overshot time, but the speakers have agreed to just spend another few minutes with the participants. So I will just throw the last question for today, and I will throw it to all the speakers here. What must I do or learn to set my forward journey, and what cautions must I take? So what I need to learn and what cautions I need to take.
Yeah, I think the first thing we need to do in reskilling is to control our ego. Yeah, this is something we all need to worry about. Because as I read, as I go through Facebook, a lot of Gaia statement, upskilling and all those things, I think we have to be careful. In reskilling, I would give 3 levels. It could be upskilling, of course. Yes, I'm not saying that you cannot upskill. Maybe you can take up a master's degree or a PhD, from a distance. But a lot of reskilling actually is on the same level. For example, my facilitators today, the last few weeks, they're just reskilling to teach what they used to teach in class on a face-to-face. Now they have to teach. I'm sure, Dr. Anindita, your
Yes.
people are doing the same thing.
Exactly. Yes.
So in other words, our reskilling may not be upskilling. It is actually a parallel skill, but now we're going to use different, what you call a platform. But don't underestimate the need to reskill, but go down actually. Maybe the job that you have today is no longer available. You may decide to, do something you used to do 10 years ago, or, do a job which is, you feel that is beyond, is below you. But it's okay. Because like I was suggesting just now, one of the most important formula we need to follow and to really, really believe in is that we need to recalibrate our expectation. We have to change our expectation, not just to ourselves, to our family member, to your colleagues, even to the government. I think, it's not easy. I'm a new, I'm neither pro the government or against government. When they're right, they're right. When they're wrong, they're wrong. But some of the comments we are demanding from the government, shows that we don't know how difficult it is to run the country. Yeah, and we have to be careful. We have to manage our expectation. We have to cut some slack. We must allow people to make mistakes. Yeah, we must cut some slack. Even in the family, even your brother, your sisters, your husband, your wife, yeah, cut some slack. Just like I was suggesting, let's open up our human spirit. Be more open. This is the first time in a long time we human beings, the whole world, have a chance to step back and look back at ourselves. And this is, if you want to look, you choose to look at it as God's gift. In 5-6 years' time, we look back and say, wow, that was such a great time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anindita, just a quick one.
Yes, please.
Bala and I, we are in the 50s. Yeah, we grew up because of 97 crisis, the one that Kairon showed, one of the worst. We are all prima donnas in the year 90s. We thought we can do everything. 1997 taught us a big lesson, and we grew up. And this I think, I've been talking about it for many, many years. The Gen Y and millennials need a crisis. This could be the antidote to what Gen Y and millennials need. This could be something good for society. Let's wait a few years' time and look back and say, wow, we grew. Thank you. I pass back.